The small hands gripping Danny's sleeve belonged to a child who had not eaten in 3 days. Danny Reeves knelt on the cold floor of the refugee transport's medical bay. The ship was old and tired, carrying 200 aliens fleeing from a border war that had swallowed their colony. Most of them were Delvari, small furry creatures with large dark eyes and gentle voices. The child before him was named Ren, 12 cycles old. Scared. Alone. Drink this slowly, Danny said, holding a nutrient pack to the boy's lips. Small sips. Your stomach needs time. Ren obeyed. His fur was matted and dull from dehydration, but color was returning to his face. He looked up at Danny with something like hope. Are you a healer? Ren asked. I used to be, Danny said. Now I just move cargo. But some things you never forget. Danny was 34 years old. Brown hair going gray at the edges. Average height. Average build. Nothing special to look at. He had been a combat medic during the Terran colonial wars, back when humanity was still fighting itself over distant rocks. Those days left scars that did not show on skin that he had signed onto this refugee run as a volunteer. The pay was nothing. The work was hard. But there were children on board who needed help, and Danny had learned long ago that he could not look away from children who needed help. The ship shuddered. Danny grabbed Ren and pulled him close as alarms began screaming throughout the vessel. Red lights flashed. The captain's voice came through the speakers, shaking with fear. All passengers remain calm. We are being intercepted. Please stay in your compartments. Danny moved to the small window and looked out into the black ships. Dozens of them. Dark vessels covered in weapons and scars from 100 raids. They surrounded the transport like wolves around a wounded animal. Then the largest ship appeared. It dropped out of nowhere, as if space itself had spit it out. Black hull. Red markings. A name painted in galactic common across its side. The Obsidian Fong. Danny felt his blood go cold. Everyone in the outer rim knew that ship. Everyone knew its captain, Shalira Voss. The Pirate Queen. The broadcast came seconds later. A female voice, smooth and cruel. Attention, transport vessel. You will power down your engines and prepare for boarding. Resist, and I will turn your ship into dust. You have 30 seconds. The captain surrendered immediately. There was no other choice. Danny heard the boarding clamps attach to the hull. He heard boots thundering through corridors. He pushed Ren behind him and faced the medical bay door. It exploded inward. Pirates poured through. They were a mixed crew of different species. Some had scales. Some had too many eyes. All of them carried weapons and wore the black and red of Shalira's fleet. A large four-eyed female pointed at Danny. Human. Worthless. Leave him. She turned to Ren, cowering behind Danny's legs. That one has value. Take it. Danny stepped forward. He's just a child. He's sick. Let me. Something hard struck the back of his skull. The world went dark. When Danny woke, the medical bay was empty. Blood dripped from a cut on his head. His vision swam as he pulled himself up and stumbled into the corridor. The transport was a tomb. Passengers sat in shock, weeping, holding each other. The pirates had taken 47 people. The young, the healthy, the ones who would sell well in distant markets. Ren was gone. Danny found a captain on the bridge, staring at a message on the main screen. A ransom demand. 50 million credits for the return of the hostages. They won't pay, the captain said, his voice hollow. No one has that kind of money. And even if they did, Shalira never releases hostages alive. Everyone knows that. A second message appeared. This one was addressed directly to Danny. The face of a reptilian female filled the screen. Purple scales. 4 arms. Eyes like polished black stones. Shalira Voss smiled at the camera. I see you survived, human. Consider yourself lucky. Your kind has no value in the galactic markets. Too fragile. Too weak. Too worthless. I left you behind as a mercy. She laughed. Do not follow us. Do not try to be a hero. Heroes die screaming in my throne room. I have a collection of their skulls. Enjoy your meaningless little life. The message ended. Danny stood in the silence that followed. Blood ran down his face. His hands were shaking, but not from fear. The captain looked at him. What are you going to do? Danny thought about Ren. About the promise he had made to get the boys safely to the refugee station. About the small hands gripping his sleeve. "I'm going to get them back," Danny said. The captain stared at him like he had lost his mind. "Alone? Against the pirate queen? That's suicide." Danny walked toward the door. "Maybe," he said, "but I made a promise." He returned to his ship, a small cargo hauler called the Wandering Mule. It was old and slow and had no weapons that IT would have to be enough. Danny sat in the pilot's seat and began plotting a course. He did not know how he would save 47 hostages from the most feared pirate in the Outer Rim. But he knew he would not stop until he did or until he died trying. 3 days of hyperspace travel left Danny with nothing but time to think and a growing list of reasons why his plan was stupid, that he did not have a plan. That was the problem. Waypoint 7 appeared in his viewport like a jewel made of metal and light. The station was massive. Millions of beings lived and worked within its spinning rings. Ships of every size and shape crowded the docking bays. It was the largest trading hub in the Outer Rim, and if anyone knew how to find the Pirate Queen, they would be here. Danny docked his ship and walked into the station. The corridors were packed. Aliens of 100 different species moved past him, talking in languages he did not understand. Danny was one of the few humans here. Earth was far away, and most of his kind stayed closer to home. Those who ventured out this far were usually running from something. Danny was running toward something. That made him unusual. His first stop was the Galactic Union office. Coordinator Ulysses was an insectoid creature called a Ven. He had 6 legs, compound eyes, and a voice that clicked when he spoke. He listened to Danny's story with what might have been sympathy, though it was hard to tell with insects. "I understand your concern," Ulysses said, "but the Union cannot act. Shalira Voss operates in neutral space, beyond our jurisdiction. We have no authority to pursue her. She took 47 innocent people," Danny said. "Children. Refugees. Yes, and that is tragic. But our hands are tied by law and treaty. We have lodged a formal protest with the neutral territories. That is all we can do." Danny stared at him. A formal protest. These things take time. Perhaps in 6 months, they'll be dead in 6 days. Ulysses clicked sadly. "I am sorry. I truly am. But there is nothing more the Union can do." Danny left the office feeling hollow. His next stop was a mercenary bar in the lower levels of the station. The place smelled like smoke and desperation. Hard-looking aliens sat at tables, drinking and comparing scars. These were the kind of people who killed for money. Surely some of them would take on the Pirate Queen. Danny approached a table of 4 mercenaries. They were Gren, a species known for their strength and their love of violence. "I need fighters," Danny said. "I'll pay whatever I can scrape together." The lead mercenary laughed. "For what job, human?" "Hostage rescue." From Shalira Voss. The laughter stopped. The mercenaries exchanged looks. Then they stood and walked away without another word. Danny tried 3 more tables. The reaction was the same every time. Some laughed. Some cursed him. One threw a drink in his face. No one would take the job that a voice spoke from a dark corner. "You're wasting your time." Danny turned. A thin alien with gray skin and too many teeth sat alone at a small table. An information broker, judging by the data screens floating around him. "Everyone in this bar has heard of the Pirate Queen," the alien said. "Everyone knows what happens to those who challenge her. She has killed warlords. She has destroyed entire mercenary companies. She hangs their bodies from her ship as decorations." "I don't care about her reputation," Danny said. "Then you are a fool." The alien tilted his head. "Or something else. Sit down, human. Tell me why you want to die so badly." Danny sat. He told the broker about Ren, about the promise he made, about the small hands gripping his sleeve. The broker listened in silence. "You are either very brave or very stupid," he said finally. "Perhaps both. I like that in a customer. I will sell you what you need to know." The price was everything Danny had saved over 5 years of cargo hauling. He paid it without hesitation. The broker gave him a location. An asteroid field in deep space called the Graveyard. Shalira's base of operations. "Hundreds have gone there seeking revenge or rescue," the broker said. "None have returned. The Graveyard earns its name." Danny downloaded the coordinates to his ship. One more thing, the broker said. If you somehow survive long enough to meet Shalira face to face, do not try to fight her. She has killed warriors twice your size with her bare hands. The only thing that interests her is novelty. Be interesting, human. It may buy you time. Danny thanked him and left. That night, he sat in his ship and prepared. He did not pack weapons. He had none, and even if he did, they would not help him. Instead, he packed medical supplies, food, clean water, things that hostages would need that a message arrived from Coordinator Ulysses. I heard what you were planning. You should know that even if you reach Shalira, even if you somehow free the hostages, you have no way to get them to safety. You are one man with a cargo ship. Danny typed his reply, I know. Then why go? Danny thought about that question for a long time, that he remembered his sister. She had been 15 when the colonial wars reached their homeworld. Danny had been a medic on the front lines, too far away to protect her. She died in a bombing raid while he was saving strangers that he could not save her. But he could save Rend. He typed his final message to Ulysses, because giving up is not something humans do well. Then he powered up his engines and set course for the graveyard. Whatever waited for him there, he would face it alone. Rocks the size of cities spun slowly through the darkness ahead. Danny had never seen anything like the graveyard. The asteroid field stretched across his entire viewport, a maze of stone and metal that seemed to go on forever. Wrecked ships floated among the rocks, torn apart and left to rot. Some looked centuries old. Others still had fires burning inside them. This was where starships came to die. And this was where the Pirate Queen made her home. Danny guided the wandering mule through the outer edge of the field. His sensors screamed warnings at him constantly. Collision alerts, radiation spikes, ghost signals from dead vessels that still broadcast distress calls no one would ever answer. He ignored them all and kept flying. The plan, if it could be called a plan, was simple. He would not sneak in. He would not try to be clever. He would fly straight toward the heart of the graveyard and announce himself. Let them come to him. Danny opened a communication channel and broadcast on all frequencies. This is Danny Reeves, human cargo hauler. I am here to speak with Shalira Voss. I am unarmed. I am alone. I request permission to approach. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then the rocks began to move. Hidden among the asteroids, pirate vessels powered up their engines. Danny counted 12 of them before he stopped counting. They emerged from the debris like predators waking from sleep, their weapons trained on his tiny ship that a voice crackled through his speakers. Male. Amused. Human? Did you say human? Well, this is new. Hold position, little creature. We're coming to collect you. Danny cut his engines and waited point. Two pirate ships flanked him, their tractor beams locking onto his hull. They pulled him deeper into the graveyard, past more wrecks and more hidden vessels, until they reached the center. The obsidian Fong waited there like a dark god. The flagship was enormous. Black metal and red lights. Weapons bristled from every surface. The bones of smaller ships hung from its hull on chains, trophies of conquest. Danny had seen warships before, during his time as a medic. This was not a warship. This was a statement. His ship was dragged into a landing bay filled with pirates. They watched him with hungry eyes as the tractor beam set him down. The moment his ramp lowered, they swarmed aboard. Danny stood calmly as they searched his vessel. They found medical supplies, food packs, water containers, bandages and medicine, and nothing else. A four-eyed female pushed through the crowd. She was tall and muscular, with the look of someone who had killed many times and would happily kill again. But there was something else in her expression. Curiosity. No weapons, she said. No arme. No backup. Either you are the bravest creature I have ever met, or the stupidest. Probably both, Danny said. The female stared at him. Then she laughed. I am Asha, she said, second in command of this fleet. The queen will want to see you. Follow me, and do not do anything foolish. Danny followed her through the corridors of the obsidian Fong. The ship was a nightmare. Bodies hung in cages along the walls. Blood stained the floors. Pirates of every species watched him pass, whispering among themselves. He heard the word human repeated many times, always with confusion or contempt. They reached a massive door carved with symbols Danny did not recognize. "The throne room," Asha said. "Kneel when you enter. Speak only when spoken to. And do not look the queen in the eyes unless she permits it." "I don't kneel," Danny said. That Asha's expression flickered. Something that might have been respect, quickly hidden. The doors opened. The throne room was a cathedral of violence. Pillars made from the hulls of conquered ships. A floor covered in furs and gold taken from 1,000 raids. And at the far end, sitting on a throne made of bones, was Shalira Voss. She was beautiful in the way that a storm is beautiful. Purple scales that shimmered in the light. For arms, each ending in claws that could tear through metal. Eyes like polished black stones that reflected nothing and saw everything. Danny walked forward. He did not kneel. The pirates around him gasped. Weapons were drawn. But Shalira raised one hand, and everyone froze. "A human," she said. Her voice was silk over steel. "I remember you. The one I left behind on the refugee transport. The worthless one. I came to make you an offer," Danny said. Shalira laughed. The sound echoed through the throne room like breaking glass. An offer. From a creature with no weapons, no army, and no value. "This should be entertaining. Speak, human. Amuse me. Release the hostages," Danny said. "All 47 of them. In exchange, I will stay and serve as your fleet's medic. You have hundreds of pirates under your command. They get injured. They get sick. I can help them. And why would I need a human healer? Because I'm good at keeping people alive. And because no one else is crazy enough to offer." Shalira studied him for a long moment. Her black eyes revealed nothing. "You are either very brave," she said finally, "or very stupid. I keep hearing that." The pirate queen smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. "I will not accept your offer, human, but I will keep you alive for now. You entertain me. Throw him in with the other hostages. Let us see how long his courage lasts." Guards grabbed Danny's arms and dragged him away as the throne room doors closed behind him. He heard Shalira's laughter following him into the darkness. The first part of his plan had worked. He was inside. Small arms wrapped around Danny the moment he hit the floor of the holding cell. Ren was crying. His fur was dirty and his voice was broken, but he was alive. He pressed his face against Danny's chest and would not let go. "You came back," Ren whispered. "You came back for me." "I told you I would," Danny said. He held the boy close and looked around the cell. 46 other hostages stared at him from the shadows. Delvari, Ven, species Danny did not recognize. All of them looked thin and scared and hopeless. Some had injuries that had not been treated. Some were too weak to stand. Danny got to work. The pirates had let him keep his medical supplies, finding them useless for escape. They did not understand that healing could be a weapon too. Over the next 3 days, Danny treated every hostage in the cell. He cleaned wounds. He set broken bones. He shared his food and water with those who needed it most. He told stories to keep the children calm. He held the hands of the dying and promised them they would see their families again. The hostages began to trust him. More importantly, they began to hope. The guards noticed pirate crews were rough. They lived dangerous lives and had no access to proper medical care. Word spread that there was a healer in the holding cells, a human who could fix what hurt. One guard came to Danny with a wound on his arm that had gone bad. Infection had turned the flesh black. Without treatment, he would lose the limb. Danny cleaned the wound and applied medicine from his supplies. Within 2 days, the infection was gone. The guard said nothing, but he left Danny's cell doors slightly open that night. More pirates came. A broken finger, a lung infection, a skin disease that had spread across half a crew. Danny treated them all without asking for anything in return. "Why do you help them?" one of the hostages asked. "They are our captors." "Because they are alive," Danny said. "And I help the living. That's what I do." On the 4th day, Shalira summoned him to the throne room. She sat on her bone throne, watching him with those black eyes. Her arms folded across her chest, a smile that promised nothing good. "My pirates speak of you," she said. "They say you healed them without asking for payment. This confuses them. It confuses me as well. Helping people is not complicated, Danny said. Everything has a price, human. Everyone wants something. What do you want? I told you. I want the hostages released. Shalira laughed. And I told you no. Yet you remain calm. You help my crew. You wait. What are you waiting for, human? Danny said nothing. The pirate queen leaned forward. Tell me about your world. Tell me about Earth. So Danny told her that he told her about the wars humanity had fought against itself, the plagues that had killed billions, the disasters that had pushed his species to the edge of extinction again and again. And he told her how humanity had survived every time. Your species sounds weak, Shalira said. Fragile, easy to break. We break all the time, Danny agreed. But we put ourselves back together. That's the thing about humans. We don't know how to stay broken. And what drives this? This refusal to accept defeat. Danny thought about it. We call it spite. Spite. Doing something not because you will win, but because giving up is unacceptable. Because someone told you that you couldn't and you want to prove them wrong. Shalira was quiet for a long time. A strange concept, she said finally. Pointless. Illogical. Maybe. But keeps us going. She waved her hand. Return him to his cell. I will speak with him again tomorrow. The guards took Danny away. But as he left, he saw something in Shalira's eyes that had not been there before. Not fear, not respect, but uncertainty. She did not understand him, and that made her nervous. That night, Asha came to Danny's cell. The second in command stood in the doorway, watching him in the darkness. Her 4 eyes glowed faintly in the low light. Why did you really come here? She asked quietly. The truth. Danny looked at Ren, sleeping against his side. Because a child asked me not to leave him, he said. And I couldn't say no. Asha stared at him for a long moment. You're going to die here, she said. You know that. Probably. And yet you came anyway. For a child you barely know. From a species not your own. Danny met her eyes. Does that seem strange to you? Asha did not answer. She turned and walked away into the darkness. But Danny had seen her expression before she left. He had seen the doubt growing in her mind. The cracks were forming. On the 6th day, Shalira made her announcement. The ransom deadline had passed. No payment had come. Tomorrow, she would execute all 47 hostages in a public broadcast to maintain her reputation. The hostages wept and screamed. Danny sat in silence. One of the guards leaned close to the bars. You don't seem worried, human. I'm not, Danny said. The queen will kill you tomorrow. She will make it slow. Danny smiled. It was a small, tired smile. But there was something in it that made the guard step back. We'll see, Danny said. Then he closed his eyes and began to wait. Tomorrow would be the day, one way or another. Midnight came without a sound. Danny opened his eyes in the darkness of the holding cell. Around him, the other hostages slept badly, knowing that dawn would bring their deaths. Some whimpered in their dreams. Others lay awake, staring at nothing. Ren was pressed against Danny's side, trembling. Are you scared? The boy whispered. No, Danny said. I'm ready. He stood up slowly. The cell door was unlocked, left slightly open by the guard whose arm he had saved. It was not much, just a small gap. But small gaps were all Danny needed. He pushed the door open and stepped into the corridor. And no alarms. No shouts. The ship was quiet at this hour, most of the pirates sleeping off their drink. Danny moved through the darkness with careful steps, not hiding, but not hurrying either. The guard spotted him at the first junction. Human? What are you doing out of your cell? Danny kept walking toward him. His hands were empty. His expression was calm. I'm going to the bridge, Danny said. The guard raised his weapon. Stop. Stop, or I'll shoot. Danny did not stop. Something in his eyes made the guard hesitate. There was no fear in the human's face. No aggression. Just a terrible, quiet certainty. It was the look of someone who had already made peace with death. The guard's finger froze on the trigger. Danny walked past him without a word. More guards found him as he moved deeper into the ship. Some shouted. Some aimed weapons. Some followed at a distance, confused by this human who would not run and would not fight. He moved through them like water through stones. He reached the armory. The door was locked, but Danny had been watching and listening for 6 days. He had learned the codes. He had mapped the routines. He knew this ship better than most of its crew. The door opened. Inside, racks of weapons gleamed in the low light. Enough firepower to start a small war. Danny ignored all of it. He walked to a storage unit in the corner and pulled out what he needed. Emergency beacon transmitters. Small devices designed to send distress signals across vast distances. Every ship carried them. Most pirates forgot they existed. Danny took 6 of them and left the armory. The crowd following him had grown. Dozens of pirates now trailed behind, none willing to be the first to attack. Whispers spread through the group. He's going to the bridge. Someone stop him. You stop him. No one did. Asha appeared in front of Danny as he approached the command center. Her weapon was drawn, but she did not aim it. You know I should kill you, she said. Yes. The queen will have my head if I let you pass. Maybe. Asha studied his face. You really don't care if you die, do you? I care, Danny said, but there are things I care about more. For a long moment, they stood there. Then Asha stepped aside. Danny walked onto the bridge. The night crew stared at him in shock. Before they could react, Danny reached the main communication console and began broadcasting that he sent everything. The coordinates of the obsidian fawn, the layout of the graveyard, evidence of Shalira's crimes, pulled from the ship's own records over 6 days of patient observation, testimonies from hostages, images of the bodies hanging in cages. Everything that he broadcasted on every frequency, to the Galactic Union, to every news network, to anyone who would listen. Then he activated the emergency beacons and threw them out into space. The bridge erupted in chaos. Alarms screamed. Pirates rushed to the consoles, trying to stop the transmission. But it was too late. The signal had already reached the edge of the system. The throne room doors exploded open. Shalira Voss stormed onto the bridge, her eyes burning with rage. Her arms flexed, claws extended. She looked at the screens, showing her crimes broadcast across the galaxy, then turned to Danny. What have you done? Exactly what I said I would, Danny replied. I asked nicely. You refused. So I found another way. You have doomed yourself. When I am finished with you. The proximity alarms cut her off. Then on the main screen, dozens of new signatures appeared at the edge of the asteroid field. Large signatures. Military signatures that a Galactic Union battle fleet, led by 3 heavy cruisers, dropped out of hyperspace, that a message came through on the communication channel. Coordinator Yuli's clicking voice filled the bridge. Attention, Obsidian Fawn. Your location and crimes have been verified. You are surrounded. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. Shalira stared at the screen. Her fleet was scattered. Her defenses were down. There was no escape. She turned to Danny with murder in her eyes. You have destroyed everything, she whispered. No, Danny said. I just showed the galaxy who you really are. Shalira raised her claws to strike. Asha stepped between them, her weapon aimed at her captain. No, Asha said. I'm done following someone who kills children for reputation. This ends now. The bridge fell silent. Shalira looked at her second in command, at the pirates who would not meet her eyes, at the fleet of warships closing in. Her empire was crumbling, and at the center of it all stood a single human with no weapons and no fear. This isn't over, Shalira hissed. Yes, Danny said. It is. The Union fleet opened fire. Fire bloomed across the darkness of space. The obsidian Fong shuddered as Union weapons tore into its hull. Explosions ripped through the lower decks. Pirates screamed and ran for escape pods. The great warship that had terrorized the Outer Rim for decades was dying. Danny did not wait to watch. He ran from the bridge, pushing through the chaos of fleeing pirates. Smoke filled the corridors. Sparks showered from broken conduits. The ship groaned like a wounded animal. Asha ran beside him. The hostages, Danny shouted. We need to get them out. The escape pods are on deck 7. Asha replied. This way. They ran together through the burning ship. Danny reached the holding cells first. The door had been blown open by an explosion. Inside, the hostages huddled together in terror as fire crept along the walls. Everyone up, Danny yelled. Follow me. Now. They moved, slowly at first, then faster as hope replaced fear. 47 souls following a single human through the flames. Rin grabbed Danny's hand and would not let go. The corridors were a maze of destruction. Ceiling panels fell. Walls collapsed. Pirates and hostages pushed past each other in the desperate scramble to survive. Danny led them through it all. He had memorized every path during his 6 days aboard. Every shortcut, every junction. Knowledge was a weapon, and Danny had armed himself well. They reached Deck 7, but the escape pod bay was chaos. Pirates fought each other for the limited seats. Some pods had already launched. Others were damaged beyond use. Danny counted quickly. 12 working pods. 48 people to save. 4 to a pod. He ordered. Family stay together. Move. Asha helped load the hostages while Danny directed traffic. One by one, the pods filled and launched, shooting away from the dying ship toward the waiting Union fleet. The ship lurched violently. Danny stumbled and fell. When he looked up, only one pod remained. Rin stood beside it, holding the door open. "Come on," the boy cried. "We have to go." Danny rose and ran. Shalira stepped out of the smoke. The pirate queen was wounded. Purple blood ran from cuts across her scales. One of her arms hung limp at her side, but her eyes still burned with hatred, and her remaining claws were still deadly. "You," she hissed. "You took everything from me." "I didn't take anything," Danny said. "I just freed what you stole." Shalira lunged. Danny dove aside, barely avoiding her claws. He had no weapons, no training. Against the pirate queen in a straight fight, he had no chance, so he did not fight, but he ran. Shalira chased him through the burning bay, rage driving her forward. But Danny was quick, and he knew something she did not. The ceiling was unstable. Danny ducked behind a support column as a massive beam collapsed where Shalira had been standing. Debris buried her, pinning her to the floor. She screamed in fury and pain, struggling to free herself. Danny walked to the escape pod. "You cannot leave me here," Shalira shouted. Human, I will hunt you. I will find you. I will make you suffer in ways you cannot imagine." Danny paused at the pod door and looked back at her. "You asked me once about spite," he said. "About why humans keep going when logic says to stop. You thought it was pointless. Illogical." He stepped into the pod. "This is what spite looks like," he said. "You told me humans were worthless. I wanted to prove you wrong." The door closed. The pod launched. Behind them, the obsidian fong broke apart in a final explosion. Union Marines would later find Shalira in the wreckage, alive but trapped. She would spend the rest of her life in a prison on a frozen moon, dreaming of revenge against a human she would never see again. Danny did not think about her. He held Rin close as the pod drifted toward the Union fleet. The boy was crying, but they were good tears. Relief. Joy. The tears of someone who had given up hope and found it again. "We made it," Rin whispered. "We really made it." "I told you," Danny said. "I always keep my promises." 3 weeks later, Danny woke in a Union medical facility. The doctors told him he was lucky to be alive. Burns, broken ribs, smoke damage to his lungs. He had pushed his body past its limits and paid the price. But all 47 hostages had survived. Every single one that ran was waiting when Danny opened his eyes. The boy's family stood behind him, a mother and father who wept with gratitude. "Thank you," the mother said. "Thank you for bringing our son back." Danny did not know what to say, so he just nodded. Coordinator Yulis came to visit. He offered Danny a position with the Union. Good pay, good benefits, a chance to make a difference on a larger scale. Danny turned him down. "I'm just a cargo hauler," he said. "That's all I want to be." He returned to his ship a month later. The Wandering Mule was exactly where he had left it, docked in the Union impound with a note saying all charges had been dropped. Someone had even refueled it. Danny climbed aboard and sat in the pilot's seat that on the console, pinned above the navigation display, was a drawing. Rin had made it during one of their nights in the holding cell. Colored pencils on scrap paper. A simple picture of a human standing tall, surrounded by stars. Underneath, in a child's handwriting, were 2 words, "My human." Danny smiled. He powered up the engines and set course for the nearest cargo depot. There was work to do. Deliveries to make. A galaxy full of people who needed things moved from one place to another. Simple work for a simple man. But if someone needed help along the way, well, that was just what humans did.